Is this on? That's working. Yeah. I'm going to belt out a tune real quick. I can't think of anything that rhymes, or I would.
Yes, we do.
Are you ready?
Oh, yeah, I'm ready.
You ready to do this?
Oh, I'm not done? Yeah, let's do this.
Let's do this?
You've been dying for that. I know you have
I've
been.
been waiting for this for weeks to do this. We are now joined by Matt Kenseth, driver of the number 20 Home Depot Let's Do This Toyota. You like that, don't you? You still like that? Does it sound better?
I just like you try to figure out how to say it.
I've been practicing. Is it better?
Much better than the first time, yeah. The first time was more entertaining, though.
Wow. Really?
Well, it was because it took you like 6 times to... Forget it. Carry on.
Okay. Matt Kenseth, driver of the number 20 Home Depot Let's Do This Toyota. First in points, 7 wins so far this season. Talk a little bit about being at Talladega. You're here?
Yeah. Yeah, so Talladega, man, I don't know. It's kind of
You're
just...
excited to be here?
Sure.
First in points?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously the chase has been pretty good up to this point, so I'm glad to be leading. Glad we had a good run last week. Got a pretty good finish out of it, and Talladega as a driver, we'll draft a little bit today, kind of look at the weather, see if we need to put up a lap time or what we need to do. So that kind of makes practice interesting. If there is a threat of rain with everybody trying to lay back and get fast times and do all that, it's kind of silly, kind of fun to watch. And really, it's kind of a slow weekend, until Sunday. So usually just run a couple times in the draft, make sure you don't have any problems today, qualify tomorrow, and get ready to race. So as a driver, it's a pretty low stress weekend until the race starts on Sunday.
Okay, we'll take questions now for Matt. We'll start with Claire, then go to Alan, Ed, and Jeff.
Claire Beelang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. Talking about racing Talladega, you seem to have been, in all your comments leading up to it, relatively calm about the whole thing. You do what you can do, but others sort of sound wigged out. Have you learned that over the years?
Well, I don't know what good it's going to do me to be freaked out about it, right now. So, I think they've been working really hard on this car, and I know TRD's been working on engines, so hopefully we got some speed when we get out there and draft a little bit today. If we don't, there's not really a lot I can do about it. If we do, there's not really a lot I had to do with it. So really just, make sure there's no problems today. Try to learn a little bit if you can in the draft. And then, like I say, qualify tomorrow and then get ready for Sunday. So just like every week, I think you go out and try to do the best job you can do at, controlling the things that you can control and not worry about the things that you can't.
Not so much just for you, but for the entire field. Is this race look different than the race earlier in the year because it's in the chase at Talladega and there is so much on the line?
I don't anticipate it really looking a lot different. I mean, I think, there was a big wreck where somebody ran into somebody else and caused a big wreck. I mean, you might not have that happen. I think when things like that happen, you learn from them. But, typically there's always a good chance of having a couple wrecks, and you hope to be out of that. I mean, the race might look slightly different. I just don't really know. You never know what agendas anybody's going to have when these races start. Sometimes people just play it by ear. If it feels like everything's fairly calm, they'll race. Other times, if people are stuck in the middle or maybe not even in the middle, a couple rows back, they'd rather just ride around and wait till the end. So you never know what's really going to happen. I've never really had much success making too much of a plan. Seems like you just kind of try to do it. It comes natural. If seems like you have the speed and you can lead and be out front, do that. If not, and you're not comfortable, maybe you change your plan then. But every time I've really sat down and tried to make a huge plan going into this race, it's never really worked out very well for me.
Okay, we'll take our next question in the middle from Alan, then come over to Ed.
Alan Cavana, NASCAR.com. These races can have you racing with drivers that you may not see from week to week, or you may not be in contention with week to week. Do you think about that before or during a race?
No, I mean, the interesting thing about races here especially is, pretty much any of the 43 cars under the right circumstances could have a shot to win it, and you really don't know what's going to happen, and usually, when you go race at Texas, you probably can't say that, so anyway, you just want to, I think, try to figure out how to be one of those cars, and certainly I think your guard is up maybe a little bit more than normal. You pay attention to every car out there where, like last week, there's probably a few guys that weren't gonna race for the win. The groups may be a little bit smaller, so for sure when you come here, it opens it up and gives everybody a shot.
Okay, we'll take our next question from Ed. Go ahead.
Ed Hinton, ESPN.com. Keep it on hammering at you about the same subject. As cool and what will be as you seem go into this thing, and as I guess you are. Can you really totally block out of your mind this time that you are everybody talks about Talladega scrambling the standings and everything. Can you completely block out that you are the guy with the most at risk this time going into this crapshoot?
Well, I mean, yes and no. I mean, certainly I realized today that we're, the point leader and, pretty close to being tied with a 48. And, if you have a bad week, any week, that's going to hurt. And your chances of having a bad race here are probably a little bit higher, than other tracks because you can get caught up and stuff. But, I don't think you want to, give up any race. I don't think you want to have a bad finish anywhere. I don't really want to be careful and finish 15th anywhere, So I don't know. You just never know what's going to happen. You could hang around the back all day, and the thing about that is you got to eventually go to the front. Last year the wreck happened coming to the checkered. You couldn't still be really hanging in the back there because if you'd have made it through turn 4, you would have finished in the back anyway, even without wrecking. So I don't know. It's a hard balance. I still feel like all the fans pay a lot of money and watch on TV to see a race, and I've always just liked to go race. Sometimes that plan can change if your car's not fast or you feel uncomfortable where you're at and there's cars all over, all that kind of stuff. But I think I've been pretty spoiled the last few plate races, and we led a lot of laps here in the spring, and that's probably, in my opinion, the safest place.
So there's no thought that you might play it by ear about to see what circumstances are. There's no thought that you'll leave open the option of sitting at the back for a while.
Well, no. I mean, I think things can always change. I mean, for whatever reason, Daytona in July, for some reason, I was stuck in the middle, and we didn't have a lot of speed, and I could see things around me were not looking great, and I actually just decided that I was going to do something different and try to find a different lane or back up a little bit and try to get in a different lane to get going or whatever. And a wreck happened in that exact corner, and I was in it. So I mean, you don't know what's happened. I think you try to do what feels right at the time and hope it all works out.
Okay, we'll go Jeff, David, Al, and Bob. Go ahead, Jeff.
Hey, Matt. Jeff Hood of RacingToday.com. Historically, you've never been a big fan of Martinsville Speedway, but the way you and Ratcliffe and the 20 team have gelled, are you looking forward to going there next week?
I am. We had a really good run going in the spring. We got off a little bit in the middle of the race, and then we pitted at the end and lost some spots. But I thought we were going to finish 6th or 7th if we went to pitted, and I think we led more laps in the spring than I led my whole career there up to that point. Actually, I think we led over 100 laps or something. So I thought we had a good car there. Denny's always really good there. Kyle's really good there. I feel like our short track stuff is good, even though it didn't really show it at Richmond. I'm looking forward to going to Martinsville and looking forward to the challenge. It's interesting, you look at tracks that you feel like are some of your worst, and then you look at some you feel like some are your best. And if I just look through the last 5 weeks, I think we've had our best finishes at the two tracks I thought would have been our worst. And our worst finish so far at the track that I thought would have been our best. So I mean, you don't know what's going to happen. It's been a fun year because they've made me run a lot better at tracks where we didn't usually run good at. So hopefully Martinsville will be one of those.
Okay, we'll take our next question. Go ahead, David.
David Caravello, NASCAR.com. You expressed your viewpoint in this place pretty well last week when you said it's not, you don't get overwrought about stuff you can't control. You look forward to it as an opportunity. Have you always seen it like that, or was there an instance that led you to view it in that way?
No, I didn't always look at it like that. I always, probably there's a lot of times you'd come here and you're like, man, when you do wreck, I hope nobody gets hurt. You can get home after a race every time. You're like, man, I hope we don't wreck. I went through a lot of that, but just last year and the first race here this year, my speedway cars were just so fast, so that probably gives you a little different outlook. We've been able to lead a lot of laps. I was fortunate enough to win last fall. And before last year, I haven't really had that opportunity before. Feel like, we're fast enough or I'd do the right moves or do the right things or whatever. So that probably changes your outlook a little bit. I think if you go through a few plate races and you have trouble and get caught up in all the wrecks and all that, certainly I'm sure your view, changes and you don't look at it quite the same.
Okay, we'll take our next question in the back from Al, then come back up front to Bob.
Yeah, Matt, kind of along the same line. This is Al Muskie from the Anniston Star here in town. You've had good success here again the last couple of times you've been. I think 3 top 10s the last 3 you've been here. What's been the difference these last 3 times compared to maybe the previous 10 when I don't think you finished any higher than maybe 12th or 15th?
I think mainly just having faster cars. You know, the tandem stuff we ran okay, but it wasn't really my favorite style of racing, and probably didn't have the best success. And I felt like last year when they changed the rules package, that little spoiler, and kind of separated the pack again and got rid of the tandem, and you had to go back to more of a quote-unquote conventional style drafting. I felt like not only did it speed our cars up, but I felt like I was more comfortable and probably, you know, made less bad moves than I made before, that type of thing. So, you know, I think that's part of it, and just our cars with that other package seem to have had some speed.
And let me ask this, a combined deal, so I don't have to ask 2 questions in a row. Is this last 3 times that you run here and run so well, including the win, is it at all similar to the run you had here like in 5 and 6 when you had 3 straight top 10s as well? And secondly to that, what was your feeling about coming here before the spring of last year when you went 3-1-8, as opposed to the difference of what it is coming here now? It's like, boy, I just don't like coming here, and now I'm doing well. I really love it.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember 05 and 6 or 6 and 7, whatever you're talking about, and I can't hardly remember. I can't hardly remember the spring race. So, you know, I think when you go somewhere and things have been going well, it's easy to feel good about going there and have a good attitude, and vice versa. When you go somewhere and you just keep having trouble and keep getting caught in wrecks or what have you, it's easy to come with a bad attitude. So, you know, I think you just got to come with an open mind, hope your car's fast, hopefully you can stay up front and stay out of trouble. And if it's not, you know, hope circumstances work out and you can get it in the right place and get with the right cars to get up there and get a finish.
Okay, we'll take our next question from Bob.
Bob Packer, Sporting News. Considering your points position, do you not expect like help from a guy like Jimmy or Kyle or Gordon? And if they're in front of you, do you push them, or do you have to pretty much work with somebody that you're not competing for the championship with?
Well, I mean, that's a good question. I mean, you never know for sure what the cars around you are or the drivers around you are thinking, or what moves they're going to make, what they're going to do. So, you know, it's at times it can be tough having teammates at tracks like this. So, for instance, Kyle and I talked after Daytona, and right before I got in that wreck, we got together, and for whatever reason, our cars weren't very fast together, and man, I stuck it out behind them for 20-some laps and weren't going anywhere, and finally we got in a wreck, and you know, I should have bailed a long time ago. So I always try to go through the race and try to find a car that my car seems to be really fast with, and usually when you find that, the other person realizes that too, and more often than not, they'll stick with you, teammate or not, same manufacturer or not. You know, you want to do what's going to be best for, you know, your respective cars, get the best finishes you can. So, for instance, in the spring race, the 48 and my car together were really, really fast, and I think we ran nose to tail for 3/4 of the race. Now, will that happen this time because circumstances are so much different? I don't really know. I don't know if that changes or not. So, from my standpoint, I want to finish as high as I can finish. So, you know, if I find a car that my car is real fast with, I'll try my best to work with that person to try to get us the best finish we can.